Good morning, Bill Thompson for Outside Insiders. I've been waiting at the South Bank ABC studios for half an hour. I was here earlier when the Prime Minister arrived in Z1. The luxury BMW was driven down the ramp into the ABC's new underground car park here at South Bank, which meant that I didn't have an opportunity to try and chat with the PM as he walked from the car to the temporary residence entrance here in Moore Street. I did have a chance to hand, I think, one of his staffers a list of issues that I thought might be of interest to Barry this morning. I call it the ABC Narrative Bingo. Within a couple of minutes of the program starting, they did tick the gay marriage box, talking about the proposed gay marriage plebiscite. And of course the usual suspects are very much opposed to the plebiscite because A, they say it will be divisive, B, they say it will be very expensive, figures quoted in excess of $100 million. Heaven forbid that we should spend any money to find out what the Australian people actually would like to do in relation to this. One thing that I might put forward as a suggestion, is it possible that we could hold the plebiscite on gay marriage concurrently with the proposed referendum on recognising Aboriginals in the Constitution? Presumably that would save some money. And look, while we're on the subject of plebiscites, why not a question on whether Australians would support compulsory organ donation in appropriate circumstances with opt-out provisions. This would make a lot more sense than the arguments that occur in the fraught situations of loved ones being in hospital, and just see whether Australians would be in support of that. Why not also a plebiscite question on whether a majority of Australians would support the reintroduction of the death penalty for people convicted of heinous rapes and murders. The name Adrian Bailey comes to mind. Martin Bryant comes to mind. There may well be a number of people, if not a majority of people in Australia, who might be interested in having a say on that question. Perhaps also include the question of euthanasia. That's an issue that's important to that will be important to perhaps all of us at some point, and maybe that's an issue that could be lumped into well, let's call it an omnibus plebiscite, so that the horrendous cost impost of the gay marriage plebiscite would be spread across a number of issues that are probably important to Australians. I'm hopeful that the Prime Minister's two-car motorcade, well, in fact in this case it might be a three-car motorcade, will be emerging shortly. If not, I may have to truncate and commence again. It seems to have been a longer interview than is usually the case for the Insiders program, but I suppose Malcolm Turnbull is the current Prime Minister, and in those circumstances it's appropriate to spend as much time as Barry Cassidy thinks is appropriate. I will be intrigued to see what the final score on ABC Narrative Bingo is. As I mentioned, gay marriage was fairly quickly off the mark at the start of the program. I did hear that Tony Abbott got a mention maybe 10 minutes ago. I'm not sure what's been happening during the period that I've been chatting with you, but it may well be that there's been a few more ticks on the chart. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. The Nauru and Manus Island issues are still hot button for the ABC. They never let a chance go by. Donald Trump, the coverage of the US election has been, in my opinion, an absolute disgrace. But ABC News has concentrated almost entirely on comments made by Donald Trump during speeches or press conferences, and whilst on occasion they have made fleeting reference to Hillary Clinton's various issues, trust issues, including her email scandal, they have never actually reported precisely what the nature of the scandal is, and that could well be of interest to people in considering her suitability for the office of President of the United States. This is a woman who, as she was being appointed Secretary of State of the United States to carry out the various world duties of the United States of America, decided to establish a secret private email server in the basement of her home in New York, rather than avail herself of the already existing State Department facilities. And she says that the reason she did that is that she wanted to maintain separation and privacy regarding her yoga appointments and the arrangements for the wedding of her daughter. She made no mention of her desire to maintain the secrecy of the arrangements that were being put in place and carried on with the Clinton Global Initiative while she was Secretary of State. And just ask yourself whether it makes sense that the primary, is she lying or is she not, that the primary reason for the establishment of the private email server was to safeguard the details of her yoga appointments. It's beyond belief. And she moans and bitches about Donald Trump not releasing her tax returns. Trump has replied, well, you released the text of the speeches you made to big Wall Street donors. And let's have a look at those too. And the speeches that Bill Clinton has given to various totalitarian regimes, particularly in the Middle East over the years. Turning back to Australian issues, last week, or recently, there was a big kerfuffle over photos of Dylan Voller in a restraint chair with a spit hood on, and this was supposed to be an example of horrendous torture and violation of human rights. Well, this week there was a case of a young woman being savagely stabbed to death in far north Queensland, and when the individual who is suspected of being responsible was being transported by the police to the hospital and or for questioning, it turns out that he violently assaulted the police and had to be restrained. And there's a picture in the news yesterday of the suspect restrained in the back of a car with a spit hood on. I wonder if Gillian Triggs will be suggesting an inquiry into the violation of this person's human rights. If it's good enough for Dylan Voller, perhaps it should be good enough for this individual. I also note the fact that the ABC has recently posted an image of the alleged murderer. Here comes the Prime Minister's car now. I'll just see if I can get a wave as he comes by. I'll hold out my bingo. Good morning. How did we go with the bingo? How was the bingo? No comment? No comment? How'd we go with bingo? Good morning from Outside Insiders.